Benazir Bhutto Sindhi, Banadhiri Urdu, Banadhir Bwipa, BNCR BHT. To June 21, 1953 December 27, 2007 was a Pakistani politician who served as the 11th and 13th Prime Minister of Pakistan from 1988 to 1990 and from 1993 to 1996. She was the first woman to head a democratic government in a Muslim-majority country. Ideologically a liberal and a secularist, she chaired or co-chaired the Pakistan People's Party (PPP) from the early 1980s until her assassination in 2007. Of mixed Sindhi and Kurdish parentage, Bhutto was born in Karachi to a politically important, wealthy aristocratic family. She studied at Harvard University and the University of Oxford, where she was president of the Oxford Union. Her father, the PPP leader Zulfikar Bhutto, was elected prime minister on a socialist platform in 1973. She returned to Pakistan in 1977, shortly before her father was ousted in a military coup and executed. Bhutto and her mother Nusrat took control of the PPP and led the country's movement for the restoration of democracy. Bhutto was repeatedly imprisoned by Mohammad Zia-ul-Haq's military government and then self-exiled to Britain in 1984. She returned in 1986 and, influenced by Thatcherite economics, transformed the PPP's platform from a socialist to a liberal one, before leading it to victory in the 1988 election. As Prime Minister, her attempts at reform were stifled by conservative and Islamist forces, including President Ghulam Ishaq Khan and the powerful military. Her administration was accused of corruption and nepotism and dismissed by Khan in 1990. Intelligence services rigged that year's election to ensure a victory for the conservative Islamic Democratic Alliance (EG), at which point Bhutto became leader of the opposition. After the EG government of Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif was also dismissed on corruption charges, Bhutto led the PPP to victory in the 1993 elections. In her second term, she oversaw economic privatization and attempts to advance women's rights. Her government was damaged by several controversies, including the assassination of her brother Murtaza, a failed 1995 coup d'état, and a further bribery scandal involving her and her husband Asif Ali Zardari. In response, President Farouk Laghourie dismissed her government. The PPP lost the 1997 election, and in 1998 she went into self-exile, living between Dubai and London for the next decade. A widening corruption inquiry culminated in a 2003 conviction in a Swiss court. Following the United States brokered negotiations with President Pervez Musharraf, she returned to Pakistan in 2007 to compete in the 2008 elections. Her platform emphasized civilian oversight of the military in opposition to growing Islamist violence. After a political rally in Rawalpindi, she was assassinated. The Salafi jihadi group Al-Qaeda claimed responsibility, although the involvement of the Pakistani Taliban and rogue elements of the intelligence services was widely suspected. She was buried at her family mausoleum in Garhi Kutubakhsh. Bhutto was a controversial figure who remains divisive to this day. She was often criticized as being politically inexperienced, was accused of being corrupt, and faced much opposition from Pakistan's Islamist lobby for her secularist and modernizing agenda. In the early years of her career, she was nevertheless domestically popular and also attracted support from Western nations, for whom she was a champion of democracy. Posthumously, she came to be regarded as an icon for women's rights due to her political success in a male-dominated society. Bhutto was born at Pinto's nursing home on June 21, 1953 in Karachi, Sindh, Pakistan. Her father was the politician Zulfikar Ali Bhutto and her mother was Begum Nusrat Isfahani. The latter was born in Isfahan, Persia, now Iran, to a wealthy Persian merchant family of partial Kurdish descent. Zulfikar was the son of Shahnawaz Bhutto, a prominent politician who had served as Prime Minister of the Junagadh state. The Bhuttos were aristocratic, 4 wealthy landlords from Sindh, 5 part of the Waitrose or landed gentry. 6 they were Sunni Muslims, 7 although Nusrat had been born into a Shia Muslim family before converting to Sunni Islam upon marriage. 8 the couple had married in September 1951, 9 and Benazir was their first child. 10 she was given the name of an aunt who had died young. 11 the Bhuttos' 3 younger children were Murtaza born 1954, Sanam 1957, and Shahnawaz 1958. 12 when the elderly Shahnawaz died in 1957, Zulfikar inherited the family's land holdings, making him extremely wealthy. 13 Benazir's first language was English. As a child she spoke Urdu less frequently, although she was fluent, and barely spoke the local Sindhi language. Her mother taught her some Persian as a child. 14-15 Benazir initially attended the Lady Jennings Nursery School in Karachi. 16 She was then sent to the Convent of Jesus and Mary in Karachi and from there to the Jesus and Mary Convent, a boarding school in Murree. 17 Murree is near the border with India, and during the Indo-Pakistani War of 1965 Bhutto and the other pupils underwent air raid practices. 18 Taking her exams in December 1968, Bhutto passed her O-levels with high grades. 19. Throughout her youth, Bhutto idolized her father, 20 and he, in turn, encouraged her educational development in contravention of traditional approaches to women and pervasive in Pakistan. 21 Relations between her parents were however strained during her childhood. Zulfikar embarked on extramarital affairs with other women, and when Nusrat objected he had her thrown out of their house. She moved to Iran, but after Zulfikar prevented her children from joining her there, she returned to Pakistan 6 months later, settling in Karachi. 22 Throughout her life, Bhutto never publicly acknowledged this internal family discord. 23 When Bhutto was 5, her father became the cabinet minister for energy, and when she was 9 he became the country's foreign minister. 24 From an early age, she was exposed to foreign diplomats and figures who were visiting her father, among them Zhou Enlai, Henry Kissinger, and Hubert Humphrey. 25 When she was 13, he resigned from the government and a year later established his own political party, the Pakistan People's Party (PPP). 26 The PPP used the motto "Islam is our faith, democracy is our policy, socialism is our economy. All power to the people." 27 It employed a populist strategy to attract votes, promising roti, copra or makan bread, clothes, and housing for every Pakistani and insisting that the disputed territory of Kashmir would be transferred from Indian to Pakistani control. 27 Benazir immediately joined. 28 Amid riots against the government of President Ayub Khan, in 1968 Zulfikar was arrested and imprisoned for 3 months, during which he wrote to Benazir to encourage her studies. 29